It's, Speaker, 75 years since our 16th Prime Minister, Ben Chifley, took office. A great Prime Minister who was responsible for so many nation-building, great Prime Minister responsible for the Snowy Mountains Hydro Scheme. He helped set up the Australian National University, set up the pre-runner or the precursor to the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme, public housing, pushed for that, reorganised and enlarged the CSIRO. But the best vision that you had of Ben Chifley was seeing him stand next to the Holden FX, the first Holden car, the first mass-produced vehicle in this country, came out of Fisherman's Bend in Melbourne. It's a point of pride to us because manufacturing is in the DNA of the Australian Labor Party. It means something deeply to us. It reflects a faith in Australian know-how, in a capability of our workforce, in our workers, the value of manufacturing to Australian wealth, jobs, supporting small business. It's why we fight so strongly for it. And the value of manufacturing in this nation particularly underscored over the course of the last 12 months. When we were worried, when the pandemic had exercised so much pressure on the economy, but at its height we were worried about what was happening with facial masks, with gowns, hand sanitisers. Where was that getting built or made? All in short supply. Concerns about the manufacture of potential vaccines. Now, over the last few weeks, I've been visiting manufacturers to hear about what they're doing, and I'm proud, as the members who represent them are proud, to see what they're able to do, delivering for customers, creating work, generating jobs, but they still struggle finding the skills, getting the support for R&D. Financial support as well out of banks. I spoke with one manufacturer who said, I've been a loyal customer of a bank for 10 years, and he says it's easier to get $1 million for a home than $500,000 to expand my business. And they're wanting to see support for them to expand their businesses, generate jobs. That's what they're wanting to see. But confidence in manufacturing has been hammered in this country, and we need strong action, urgent action. We've sent strong signals of support for manufacturing. And in fact, Labor in government in 2013 released the Plan for Australian Jobs, the Industry and Innovation Statement, a detailed plan to boost manufacturing in areas of competitive advantage, advanced manufacturing, food manufacturing, mining equipment, energy and resources, digital, defence, space, medtech, all that released in 2013. What was the first thing the coalition did in 2014? Got rid of it. Got rid of the plan. First action, and I'll come back to that. Now, the Leader of the Opposition, in his budget and reply speech, reignited our commitment in terms of manufacturing in plans to advance the future made in Australia, rebuilding national manufacturing, a comprehensive plan for jobs, in terms of advancing things like, for example, a national rail manufacturing plan, defence industry development strategy, Australian skills guarantee, all these things designed to boost and support manufacturing in this country. But then you look at the other side. And the other side, as I said, in 2014, the very first thing they did when they got into manufacturing is they killed the plan that would have set us up longer term to see manufacturing and jobs grow. That's the first thing they did. They dumped the instant asset write-off, then they brought it back. They dumped, they relinquished, or they abolished the lost carry-back, and then they brought it back. They threatened to cut $2 billion out of the R&D tax incentive or R&D support in this country. Then they relented. They drove, at that dispatch box, their then Treasurer, Joe Hockey, dared auto manufacturers to leave the country. And what did they do? They left. And all those jobs that went with it. Failed on energy policy, so important for manufacturing, 20 plans gone nowhere. They depleted skills, 150,000 cut in terms of apprentices, and we have a manufacturing deficit in this country. Australians use $365 billion of manufactured goods each year, but we produce $380 billion. That shows you what's happened. Attack after attack after attack. And then when you look at what's gone on, what's the result of all this? The Australian Institute Centre for Future Work says Australia ranks last in a list of OECD countries in terms of manufacturing self-sufficiency. Less than 1 million people work in the manufacturing sector, accounting for 6.4% of jobs, which has declined from 16.5% in the late 1980s. A huge contraction in manufacturing jobs. 90,000 during this term of government have particularly gone. The Harvard University Economic Complexity Index assesses the complexity of economies throughout the diversity and research intensity of exports. Australia ranked 50 on that index in 1995, but it dropped to 93 in 2017. This is the legacy of this government in terms of what you are seeing. Now, and I know that the ministers in the House, they've brought forward a modern manufacturing fund, which, funnily enough, guess what? It focuses on all the things we focused on in 2014. We are very grateful. We are very grateful, but you abolished it. You abolished it, and we lost 7 years. 7 important years where we could have had our manufacturing capacity built after you saw everything that I referred to a few moments ago about the impact on jobs and the impact on the economy, all because in 2014 they were cheering that they were tearing everything up just to differentiate themselves from our side, but someone paid the cost, and it was average Australian workers who did. Right. And we didn't deserve to see that. And in terms of this fund as well, the minister herself indicated soon after it was announced that less than 3% of the funding will be available for manufacturers this financial year. Now, the minister may have an update, but there's no point announcing a big plan and not being able to deliver through and raising expectations about what this thing will do, but you only release 3% of funding this year. This year. And we need, at a time where we need urgency and energy and drive on all this, we need them to deliver. But when it comes to manufacturing, the thing they're good at, manufacturing a slogan. There's always a label, there's always a photo opportunity, there's always something out there to just say we're doing something, but when it comes to delivering something, nothing. Nothing at all. Or they're good at slogans. The other thing they're good at, rorts. Oh, they're so good at rorts. Look at this. They had, for example, an SME. There was the Sydney Morning Herald accounted for this. The first round of funding under SME Export Hubs grant, and it turns out the bulk of the grants, 8 of the 9 projects, where were they? Have a guess where those projects were.
Seats? Don't tell me.
They just happened to be in coalition seats, and one was shared between the coalition, and also Labor. Let me make this point. There is no
Members on my left will stop interjecting.
Party. There is absolutely no political party that could actually believe in manufacturing and would think—
The minister will pause for a moment. Members on my left will stop interjecting. I'm finding it difficult to hear the member's contribution. The member will continue.
No political party that actually believes in manufacturing would think that their first order of business is to hammer manufacturing, to cut support in manufacturing, but that's exactly what they did. When they goaded manufacturers off our shores, when they presided over depletion of skills, they destroyed the viability of small manufacturers. That's exactly what they did. But this betrays their utter lack of belief in Australian know-how and in manufacturing jobs. But this side gets manufacturing. This side, and the people who sit on this side, get it. They've got families in manufacturing, friends who've worked in manufacturing, or their MPs proud to show off what's happening in their electorates. Like Hume Pipes in the seat of Macon, concrete pipe manufacturer. In the seat of Oxley, PFI manufacturing with a space industry focus. Keach 3D advanced manufacturing in the seat of Bendigo. State Asphalts in New South Wales in the seat of Werriwa. All these players doing great things, but what they need is support and faith. They need faith in manufacturing. When it comes to Australian manufacturing, what we want to send is this signal to industry and its workers. Australian Labor is on the side of Australian manufacturing and the workers who have a livelihood from it.